Chapter 32. Aaron felt his lips on her neck, his tongue tickling her throat. The passion of his words, the Kashmiri phrases of northern India, pressed into her skin. His need was growing as his mouth, his teeth played with the hollow of her throat. She could not resist him as his hands reached out and restrained her arms, directing them high above her head and pressing them against the wall. Her breasts lifted with the action, leaving them exposed and available to his traveling, hungry mouth. Her brown flesh excited him. Its radiant bronze color glistened with a fine layer of sweat. His tongue followed a beaded trail of perspiration along the side of her neck, lingering seductively in the grooves of her collarbone before sliding lazily down the midline of her chest. Nestling his face between soft cleavage of her breasts, he groaned as greed consumed him, and his mouth sought the feminine delights of her flesh, so soft and lush, like an exotic flower shimmering in a distant rainforest. Her areola swelled and darkened with each bite and nick of his teeth. The slight taste of salt that coated her skin added flavor to the woman he craved. His force restricted her actions, controlled her need to take the dominant role in their match of foreplay and aggression. She heard him say, "Dayava, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you for such pleasure, for such giving. I want to resist you, but I cannot. I cannot stop taking, for you give such pleasure. I want to resist, but I cannot control myself. Your body is my palace, my sanctuary, my peace." His voice thickened as he continued to murmur in Hindi, "Hamare adu kahani. This is our incomplete love story." Aaron tried to speak, but his words filled her mouth with hot desire. As he reclaimed her lips, he tested the warmth between her parted lips with his tongue. He traced the line of her front teeth with it before he sucked her tongue into his mouth, ruling it as was his right. "I want you, Murari," she cried out. "I need you," she whimpered in a broken voice as she struggled to hold on to what she now realized was a vanishing dream. Her body was hot, sweating. The pulse at her throat was throbbing where his lips had been. Her body was arched for passion, for love, but the bedroom was silent, empty. Its darkness confirmed that she was alone, that she was having another erotic dream. They were happening more frequently, at least 3 times a week. They were always climactic, orgasmic, controlling her body as though he were there, present. She stifled a moan as she longed to reach out and touch him. She felt for his side of the bed. It was cold. She stirred as a sorrow engulfed the room and swept her into a whirlwind of pain. She longed to hear his voice, to have a simple conversation with him. Nothing explosive or combative, just a friendly exchange about anything. The weather, politics, medicine. Aaron didn't care what the subject matter was. She only wanted to know that they could still behave as friends did, that they could laugh together, share an intimate moment without guilt or regret. She curled into a ball, her body forming a fetal position as she pulled the sheets over her head. She sought warmth, comfort, but the only thing that greeted her in the darkened room was the realization that she still loved Murari Varadaraj. She cared for the man. She idolized the surgeon, and she wanted to discover the prince.